Most of human life revolves around the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. We work to achieve comfort. We seek relationships, money, recognition, and experiences that promise fulfillment. We spend years pursuing goals that seem capable of completing something inside us. And for a while, they work. Success brings excitement. Love brings meaning. Achievement brings satisfaction. For a brief period, life feels whole. The problem is that the feeling rarely lasts. Every achievement gives birth to another ambition. Every fulfilled desire creates a new desire. What once seemed extraordinary gradually becomes ordinary. The excitement fades, the novelty disappears, and beneath the surface, something remains untouched. A strange emptiness, a restlessness that refuses to leave. Saint John of the Cross and Teresa of Ávila believed this restlessness was not a flaw in human psychology. It was a fundamental aspect of the human condition. According to them, there exists within us a longing that cannot be satisfied by anything the external world can provide. Many people spend their entire lives without confronting this reality. They move from pleasure to pleasure, goal to goal, distraction to distraction. And there is nothing inherently wrong with that. Yet others begin to notice something unsettling. No matter what changes around them, the emptiness remains. Perhaps they believed money would solve it. Then they obtained it and discovered it didn't. Perhaps they believed status would solve it. Then they achieved it and discovered its limits. Perhaps they believed love would finally bring completion. Yet even love, one of the deepest experiences available to human beings, often fails to eliminate the hunger entirely. Sooner or later, an uncomfortable question emerges. What if we are looking in the wrong place? What if the things we have spent years chasing were never meant to satisfy the deepest part of us? For John of the Cross and Teresa of Ávila, this question marks the beginning of a spiritual transformation. The soul begins to recognize that what it has sought for years cannot provide what it truly longs for. The difficulty is that this realization does not arrive with answers. It only destroys the old ones. The certainties that once guided life begin to collapse. The familiar path no longer feels convincing, and suddenly, the individual finds themselves standing in unfamiliar territory, a place defined by uncertainty, confusion, and sometimes despair. This is where the dark night of the soul begins. According to John of the Cross and Teresa of Ávila, the soul must undergo a profound transformation before it can move closer to what it truly seeks. This transformation does not occur on the surface of consciousness. It unfolds in deeper regions of the psyche, places we do not fully control, places we rarely understand. That is why the experience often feels so confusing. Something changes, yet it is difficult to explain exactly what. Old motivations begin to weaken. Goals that once seemed important lose their power. Beliefs that once gave meaning to life no longer feel sufficient. It is as though an invisible structure is being dismantled from within. John of the Cross believed this process was necessary because human beings tend to search for fulfillment in things that cannot ultimately provide it. As long as we remain completely identified with the world of appearances, we rarely question the nature of our dissatisfaction. But spiritual awakening changes our vision. We begin to see what was previously hidden, and what we discover is not always comforting. Often, awakening arrives as a painful clarity. We realize how much of our lives has been spent pursuing things incapable of completing us. We realize how fragile many of our certainties were. We realize how dependent our sense of meaning has been on external circumstances. Once this happens, returning to the previous state becomes difficult. Plato expressed something similar in the allegory of the cave. After seeing the light, the shadows no longer appear the same. We may attempt to return, we may repeat old habits, We may continue pursuing the same pleasures, but something fundamental has changed. We now recognize a limitation at the center of that pursuit, and that recognition transforms everything. Spiritual awakening is therefore not merely an expansion of consciousness. It is also a loss. We lose illusions. We lose explanations. We lose confidence in answers that once seemed sufficient. For a time, nothing arrives to replace them. And it is within this empty space that the dark night begins to reveal itself. John of the Cross described the dark night of the soul as a transition between two ways of being, a period in which a person can no longer live as they once did, yet has not reached what they are searching for. This is why the experience is often marked by confusion. There is a persistent sense that something is wrong, yet it is difficult to identify exactly what. The individual senses profound changes occurring within, but those changes resist language. For John of the Cross and Teresa of Ávila, the dark night unfolds in the hidden depths of the soul. Its effects become conscious, even though its origins remain beyond conscious control. Many people describe this experience as a kind of spiritual depression, not necessarily a clinical depression, but a state characterized by emptiness, disorientation, and the loss of meaning. Things that once inspired enthusiasm no longer do. Things that once seemed important no longer seem important. Desire weakens, motivation fades. Life loses part of its familiarity. According to Teresa of Ávila, one reason this experience is so painful is that most people do not truly know themselves. We live surrounded by distractions, by pleasures, by responsibilities, by endless activity. We spend so much time reacting to the external world that we rarely encounter the deeper layers of our own being. When that encounter finally begins, it can be profoundly unsettling, because we discover a distance between who we are and who we believed ourselves to be. That distance creates tension. It creates doubt. It creates insecurity. And it creates the strange feeling of existing between two worlds, no longer fully belonging to the old one, not yet belonging to the new. After years of seeking God through worldly experiences, John of the Cross began describing the divine using an unexpected word: nothing. At first glance, this seems contradictory, but he was not suggesting that God does not exist. He was pointing towards something beyond ordinary understanding. For John of the Cross, the divine transcends everything the senses can perceive and everything the mind can comprehend. Everything we see, touch, imagine, or conceptualize belongs to the realm of the known. But God cannot be reduced to an object of knowledge, cannot be possessed, cannot be controlled, cannot be fully defined. This insight appears throughout mystical traditions across the world. The Tao Te Ching speaks of a reality that cannot be captured by language. The moment it is defined, something essential is lost. John of the Cross expressed a similar intuition. The more we attempt to transform the divine into a concept, the further we move from direct encounter. This helps explain why the dark night often includes a spiritual crisis. Many people do not merely lose certainty about life, they lose certainty about God. Prayer feels empty. Religious practices lose their emotional power. The sense of closeness disappears. Faith is no longer supported by comforting feelings. At this stage, many conclude that they are moving away from the divine. John of the Cross believed the opposite. The soul is being invited beyond the limited images it has created, beyond its assumptions, beyond its expectations, beyond its need for certainty. The old ideas must fall apart. Only then can something deeper emerge. This process is painful because it demands surrender, and surrender is one of the most difficult things a human being can do. One of the most striking aspects of the dark night of the soul is the transformation of identity. During this period, we begin to lose the person we believed ourselves to be. Our desires change. Our priorities change. Our understanding of life changes. The challenge is that this transformation unfolds gradually. The old self is disappearing. The new self has not yet arrived, and the individual remains suspended between them. John of the Cross and Teresa of Ávila understood this process as a gradual dissolution of the ego. The things that once occupied the center of life begin to lose their importance. The need for approval, the obsession with image, the attachment to reputation, the dependence on the opinions of others. Slowly, these structures weaken. The life of Teresa of Ávila illustrates this transformation. For many years, she struggled with doubts, internal conflicts, and concerns about how others perceived her. Her identity was deeply entangled with external validation. But as her spiritual journey deepened, those attachments gradually loosened. She stopped defining herself through the eyes of others. This freedom was not achieved through acquisition. It emerged through renunciation. She had to abandon assumptions about herself, expectations about herself, stories about herself. The same process occurs during the dark night. The soul releases identities that no longer serve its development. Yet this release rarely feels liberating at first. More often, it feels disorienting, empty, painful, because we are losing structures that may have accompanied us for decades. We are watching an old version of ourselves die. And every death, even a psychological one, carries grief. One of the most difficult questions during the dark night is simple. What should we do? Should we pray more, meditate more, study more, change our lives completely? John of the Cross and Teresa of Ávila offered no technical formula. They believed the deepest transformation occurs beyond conscious control. It cannot be forced. It cannot be accelerated. It cannot be manufactured through effort alone. The most we can do is cultivate awareness, observe what is happening, remain present, and allow the process to unfold. This is not passivity. It is humility. It is the recognition that some movements of the soul operate according to a wisdom greater than our immediate understanding. John of the Cross once wrote that the purest suffering brings the purest understanding. The point is not to glorify pain. The point is to recognize that certain truths only become visible when our illusions begin to disappear. According to John and Teresa, the deepest movement of the soul is a movement toward love. A love that can manifest between people, but also a love directed toward the divine. This is why so many mystics describe the relationship between the soul and God using the language of lovers. The soul searches for something it has desired from the very beginning, even when it does not fully understand what it is seeking. The dark night is part of that search. It removes distractions. It removes attachments. It removes false identities. It removes certainties that have outlived their purpose. For this reason, it feels like loss. Yet in the eyes of John of the Cross, it is preparation. The soul is relinquishing everything that cannot accompany it further. And when the journey is finally understood, something remarkable becomes clear. The night was never a detour. It was the path itself. To pass through it meant losing the person you thought you were. But it also meant making room for something deeper, something truer, something closer to what the soul had been seeking all along. If this video resonated with you, if even a single idea stayed with you after the screen goes dark, then you've already become part of something larger than a channel. This community exists because people like you keep these conversations alive. We now have more than 100 videos exploring philosophy, psychology, spirituality, meaning, suffering, and the deeper questions most people spend their lives avoiding. If you'd like to go a step further, consider becoming a channel member. You'll help support the creation of future videos and gain access to exclusive perks along the way. And if this particular video meant something to you, you can also support the channel through Super Thanks. Every contribution, no matter the size, helps make this work possible. That said, support isn't only financial. Watching until the end, sharing a video with someone who needs it, leaving a comment, or simply returning for the next journey helps more than you might realize. Thank you for being here, and thank you for keeping these conversations alive.